Pretty resilient group over there, and we have a pretty resilient group on our end. Tough loss, obviously hard-fought series. A couple of breaks go our way, and we're a lot happier getting on the plane. But I'm proud of our guys for how much fight we showed. We had a really tough pitcher on the front end. Our guy matched him, and then what a wild finish. I mean, obviously both teams were doing their part. So I thought we did enough to have some opportunities late, but they clearly pulled out.
Was it just getting away from you, Darvish, is kind of what changed for the bats?
No, I mean, it doesn't get easier. Their pen's pretty good. We put some good at bats together. Darvish, was really sharp and had all of his pitches. He mixed his pitches in. He could spin his breaking ball for a strike. He dialed it up. He had a ton of reach back at the end where he was up to 97, 98 miles an hour. We hadn't seen that out of him in the previous outing. So he was dialing it up, at the end of his outing. So, obviously at the end of the game, you're trying to get as much started as you can. I mean, we tried about everything to go at those guys. We've had a hell of a time matching up with these guys, but we're always going to counterpunch. We're not just going to sit here and take it. So I appreciate our guys. We did everything we could from closing out some innings where they were challenging the scoreboard to putting up 2 runs in the 8th, 1 run in the 9th to make it an extra inning game. So we just didn't have enough at the end.
AJ, did they never lose out this series? I mean, almost all the games were close.
Yeah, I don't show up expecting them to blow us out. So I mean, to me, that premise is not even in my vocabulary.
I was going to say, you guys held them close, but then at some point their lineup seems to be able to crack through. I mean, at 1 through 9, that's a pretty stacked lineup right now.
Yeah, no, they've got a good lineup to get through, and obviously they they've earned the right to lead the division, and they continue to come at you with some tough at bat. They put the ball in play. They're not a high strikeout team. They're not a high walk team either. So they're going to do their damage with the bats. They're very balanced, so they offer some matchup issues for a lot of teams. And they came through with some big hits. I think Profar's at bat against Giles, especially seeing how Giles finished the inning and finished the next inning in grand fashion. You go back to that at bat being a grinding at bat for them, where they end up getting those runs, which they turned out to need. And the same thing at the end with Odor. So they've got a good offense, and you've got to make pitches and go at them every inning.
What did you see from Musgrove aside from that 1 inning match?
Yeah, he was exceptional. I think Joe Musgrove, going through the first 3 innings, 9 up, 9 down. Their first base runner wasn't until the 4th. He tired at the end and still gutted through his performance. And I think it's a big step for a young kid to come up here, get his first start, and finish his outing. It's really easy to nitpick at the end when you're tired and not make a pitch and end up having me go out and get you at 6 2/3 as opposed to 7. So there was a good growth day for him, and he he's got a lot of charisma. He knows what he's doing, and he's going to attack the zone. So I really like what I see from his first 2 outings.
Does he have a lot of trust in his own stuff?
Yeah, Joe. I mean, Joe's going to pound the strike zone. I think his minor league track record speaks for itself. He doesn't walk guys. His major league track record is going to be built here, and we'll see how the stuff plays in the strike zone, because he's not going to back down, but he's got weapons, and he's got multiple ones that he can go to. So he doesn't have to get you out the same way. He's not relying on just his fastball. He's got some effective secondary pitches, but his first 2 outings show that he's a real pitcher, and he's a guy that that has some competitiveness to him, and like I said, some moxie to compete.
Does that show just how important his ability to get those strikeouts is, especially with the bases loaded?
That's why I brought him in. It's hard to take Harris out of the game. He's been exceptional for us. I know he's hit a rough patch here and there, but I brought Giles in second, third for exactly how it ended up being on the back end with the strikeouts. I mean, he's been so good in his run here to getting his sort of swag back in terms of how he's going to go about it. He comes out there with a ton of confidence, and he doesn't back down. I think the 1 inning he struck out 4, right, with a wild pitch. So his ability to get swings and misses and make the hitters look uncomfortable is exactly why he's a back end reliever that we're going to lean on heavily.
It was a day you were trying to stay away from a lot of different guys, but you ended up having to lean on him in an extra inning game, and Kim comes through for you.
Yeah, I mean, Kemp gets off the plane, goes to a dental appointment, and ends up with 3 hits. I mean, that sort of shows you how the game was a little bit wacky. Tyler White didn't need to be in the game, ended up going up for the pinch hit at bat with a bad knee. I'm halfway shocked that Gomez didn't throw up on his route around the bases. I mean, we're a beat up team, and it compounds a little bit of the agony getting on the plane, having lost this series, but. We're not going to concede just yet. We got a few games ahead.
What did you see specifically from Kemp in those 3 at-bats?
I just, the ball in play is incredible. I mean, he's going to put up a good at bat. He's going to swing at strikes, and the fighting part of his at bats is something that we've grown to see about him. Through the minor leagues, his brief stint in the big leagues. The flip single to left field, the game on the line, base hits up the middle. He doesn't try to do too much. He got a little fortunate with the ball off of Bush, but he's more times than not he's going to put the ball in play. He's going to compete, and he's got a small strike zone and he knows it. So I certainly like he'll be in the lineup tomorrow.
With Harris, how you just see him making execution at this point?
Yeah, I mean, he's not making his pitches with his fastball. I think early in that inning, the leadoff walk. And then the hit by pitch. So those are just 2 things that Will Harris doesn't do. And that's why I had the early trigger. We wanted the strikeouts, with Giles coming in. I got a little unlucky with the rundown. DeShields did a good job of staying in the rundown until the runners advanced. But fastball command has eluded him in recent outings, and that puts him on the defensive rather than the aggressor, which he normally is.
A.J., you guys want to win every game, but is it a little bit more maybe disappointing that it's the Rangers that are leading the division? How do you see that?
So anytime I leave this podium after a loss, I hate it. I don't care what team's on the other side. I don't care what division they're in, what league they're in, how the loss happened. Clearly, games against the Rangers matter when they're ahead of us. They matter when they're behind us. They're in our division. So. I'm not naive. I know those games are going to be magnified. You get into August, and we're in a playoff race. These games get a little heightened awareness. But if we had lost today to an unnamed team, not named the Rangers, I would be just as disappointed.
How do you kind of keep the players' heads up? I think a couple of them admitted that this was a big series, but they ended up losing it. Do you mention to them, try to stay positive?
Yeah, no, we'll stay positive and encourage. We have a lot of good things that's going on despite the record that we've had in recent days. I mean, we're a big league team. We're professionals. We know how to show up tomorrow with a clear mind. We've got a series ahead in Minnesota that we've got to focus on. Our guys are pretty resilient. We've been through this before. We were through this earlier in the season. We pulled out of it. We got plenty of time to pull ourselves out of it by playing complete baseball. We're going to run into some tough pitching. We're going to run into some tough luck. We're big boys. We can handle it.